1 goes with hour, 57 goes with mile. So 1 hour, 57. Multiply across the top, so it's going to be 2,763.8 times 1 over 57. Miles cancels out. And the answer comes out to 48. Hopefully you're doing this with me as we go. 48.488 hours. So if you're traveling 57 miles per hour, it would take you 48.488 hours to go 2,763.8 miles. I'm going to let you work on these. If I have 9.43 grams per centimeter, that division sign in there stands for per. Which also means equal to, so we can set up conversion factors. So you can say that if I have 9.43 grams, that's the same thing as 1 centimeter cubed, or 1 centimeter cubed is the same thing as 9.43 grams. And so you look at this, in each of these two problems, you'd have the 150 gram block. That's my given. That's my starting point. What would be my conversion factor? The 9.43 grams with the 1 centimeter cubed on top. Again, you're going back, do I need to divide? Do I need to multiply? You just multiply every time. Set up your ratios and multiply fractions, and it takes the guessing game out of whether I'm multiplying or dividing. Here you multiply across the top, multiply across the bottom. The answer here actually comes out to 15.9 centimeters cubed. Grams cancels, grams cancels. And then in this next one where we've got the 1,237, you would use that conversion factor to change over from centimeters cubed over to grams. Okay, it's a chance for you to try. In set 3 here, I've given you 6 problems. Please put those on your clean sheet of paper. Make sure you multiply them out, check your sig figs, set up your conversions, show your work, and make sure you label all your answers. Since you can pause the recording, I'm going to move on. You can pause this to do your work with. But what happens if we have multiple steps? What you do is you just keep going, in essence, and cancel out anything you don't need. You continue to put on in the denominator on the bottom of the fractions. Anything you need, you keep on top. Let's try a multiple step conversion as a practice. One of the things you're going to need to know is you need to have the metric table conversion chart memorized, with 10 to the negative second meters is a centimeter, or what's a millimeter, 10 to the negative third, and that kilometer is, or kilogram is 10 to the third, so make sure you have those. And be able to go back and forth. Very rarely, and we might have you just for practice, very rarely will we go from metric to English or English to metric. For example, it's a very rare occasion we go from inches to centimeters or centimeters to inches. There are a few of those. We will have you try to commit to memory, but more likely just have them around as a useful tool. In this case, I want to go from milliseconds to minutes. This is a case of just converting through the metric system. Well, it's backwards a little bit because you say, well, what's my given here? And let's do that to make sure. And each time, if you try to remember to highlight or put a box around or square, this 0.025 is really my given. That's my starting point, even though it's written second in the problem. My wanted is how many milliseconds. And so where do we start? You always start with the given in a problem. 0.25 minutes. Now I don't know about you, but I have not committed to memory how many milliseconds are in 1 minute. So it's going to take me a little bit and several steps here. Well, let's see. I don't know how many milliseconds are in a minute, so what do I know? Well, I know that 60 seconds is in 1 minute. And if I get to seconds, then maybe I can get to milliseconds. So let's see. I know that if I have, let's write it down here. I know that 1 minute is 60 seconds. Or 60 seconds is the same as 1 minute. Which of those do I need? Well, minutes is on top, so let's go to my 60 seconds is the same thing as 1 minute. Okay, if I stop there, my answer is going to be in seconds. Well, that doesn't do me any good because my wanted unit is in milliseconds. Well, let's see what we have there. Let me put a little breakdown here. What do I know about a milli? I know that milli, the prefix milli, means 10 to the negative third. So there's a couple of different ways to write this. If I have 1 second, I know that that's 1,000. And you can do this either way you want to. Milliseconds. Or 1,000 milliseconds is the same thing as 1 second. So I took a second, cut it up into 1,000 pieces to be a millisecond. Another way you'll see it done is if I have 1 millisecond, it's the same thing as 10 to the negative third seconds, or 10 to the negative third seconds, that's 10 to the negative 3. Let me erase that and write it again. Is the same thing as 1 millisecond. You can use any one of these